YouTube. So you can see in my character list, I finally have a new character. It's called Aura Stacker Kobe. However, it's kind of not true at the current moment because I will be making this character into a budget Int Stacker for the first day or two, just so I can see if Int Stacker can be played on a budget. And I do believe that Int Stacker can be played on somewhat of a budget if your main goal is to just do maps and do like a T16 map here and there. But if you want to do any harder content like Simulacrum or 100% Deli or any of that other stuff, I do believe that Int Stacker will need a lot more money, and you will need to solve the defense issue, unlike a lot of the builds that I see out there, which pretty much just give up and just pretty much say that I'll kill you, you kill me, which is pretty much the approach that most of these people take. And I did look through a lot of profiles, and it does seem like the profiles with the Mage Blood end up being the only variants that have any hope. So if we just go quickly through, we go look at Kinetic Blast. And contrary to popular belief, for a lot of people, Kinetic Blast damage is actually insanely huge. I do think that most people will find that Int Stackers have insane single target. They will always be really, really squishy. And if you play enough of the build, you will realize that your clear skill, which is Kinetic Blast, is actually really, really bad if you don't fully invest in a pair of gloves. And that's something that I want to try to fix. I want to try to find a way around it. But if you look at any of the top profiles, you will see here two very concerning numbers: 3-digit armor and 1,000 evasion. I can tell you, you can have 10,000 ES, you can have 15,000 ES. If you have this much defenses going into a Simulacrum or something, your character will be dead on the ground. It will be rolling around in pain, and it will be wishing it was a Strength Stacker instead. So you can see every single one of these profiles is the exact same thing. So let's go through a couple of them real fast. And you can see here, Ascendant is going to be the best ascendancy. Another profile: 296, 725, 198, 2050, 189, 2516, 174, 2190. And you might think, oh, maybe it's only the ascendants, right? Could it be people who aren't doing tooltip warrior stuff? And we can go down further, bring up some occultists, and you can see here 189, 1735, 0. Actually 0. This guy has 0 armor. Like, I don't think people understand how effective a little bit of armor can go. Like, run a granite flask. Like, what the heck is going on here? 174, 1777, 183, 3137, and 0. Another 0 profile. So you can see here, this is the problem with Int Stackers. They build it with 0 defense. I do think there are ways to solve it, and I'll go over it in the coming days. But today's video will be about how to level your characters in maps in 3 hours or less, and how to get to level 90, 95. I do know a lot of people feel bored, and they actually just despise the leveling process, right? So I'm going to go over the process I did. This character reached maps pretty much in under 3 hours or so, which was while streaming. And I wanted to go over like some of the budget gear I was using, because I didn't really try to go full out on the whole leveling experience, because some people like to go full out. I just pretty much bought the basics. I didn't want to do that much trading, and I pretty much found like the least amount of effort you could put in, because I know a lot of the leveling experience and how daunting it is having to buy all of the gems, having to buy all the leveling gear, and it's just a horrible experience trying to PM people to buy a gold rim or something like that. So I try to keep the amount of buying to the minimum. So let's go over the gear I use to level. So my character is currently 66, so I'll go over, after I go over the gear, about what you should do to get the levels from like 66 to 80, which is when you can put on the rest of your gear, because I think most awakened gems actually require like 80 to 82. And you will be surprised how fast it is to go from 66 to 80 with the methods that I will describe. Now, first of all, when you level, nice part about Hollow Palm, and this is a Hollow Palm lovely. If anyone ever recommends you something other than Hollow Palm, they are probably trolling or something like that, and they are just recommending you something that's not as good if they're not recommending you Hollow Palm. So this is probably far not the most optimal setup, as I pretty much just threw this together super fast, and this is with minimal trading. So Gold Rim is always a staple in any leveling setup because it gives you the resist. The resists allow you to not die. I do think it is the best overall helm, and it's just nice to not have to worry that you get randomly one-shotted because you're low on res in a situation. Now, you could try to replace this with like Asenaths, which gives you move speed, or Paragons, or any of these helms that give you a lot of move speed if you want a more fast leveling experience instead of that. So at level 1, the chest piece, I'll always use a Tabula. I am using a Brisk Wrap, which is 6 linked. I don't think this is particularly expensive. It's like 20 chaos, 30 chaos. No more expensive than a Tabula. Now, when you level up Hollow Palm, the reason why Hollow Palm leveling works is if you read the gem, you have to buy this cluster called One with Nothing. It's actually probably the most expensive item out of this whole build. It costs like 40 chaos. So what Hollow Palm says is you count as dual wielding while you are unencumbered. And when you're unencumbered, it means you have no gloves, no weapons, and no shield. Hence the name Hollow Palm. You have 40% more attack speed with melee skills while you are unencumbered, and you add 14 to 20 attack physical damage to melee skills per 10 dex while you're unencumbered. So what this means is that you can use attribute stacking. So you're pretty much able to start life as an attribute stacker. So in this case, you're trying to stack dex. So this is really useful for leveling because we can get some uniques that just have a bunch of dex early on. Like Astramentus is level 20. And you can see here it has a bunch of dex, like 140. And that is just an insane amount of flat fizz, right? So that's like 140 to 200 flat weapon just by the amulet itself. And then the Brisk Wrap has 15% increased dex. It also has some attack speed, some cold res, and most importantly, also some move speed. Now, you could also use another La Hoop of All. So while it's lovely, you could use this and this. But this thing has 28 all attributes. This has 26 all attributes. And these two rings by itself will fix all your resists along with Gold Rim. This has 30 all res, and then this has 19 all res. So it's 49 all resist. And then you have 40 right here, so it's 89 all resist before you have to even worry about anything else. And that should pretty much set up your base of damage. If you run into any mana issues, you could use a Praxis, which is a pretty easy solution. It does lower your dex a little bit, but it'll also make it so that you don't need to worry about your mana cost anymore, and it'll be a lot smoother leveling. And next we have the Belt. Now, Belt is a pretty wide open option in terms of what you can get. So I pretty much just use this Darkness Enthroned. You can pick this up at level 1. This jewel right here actually has no level requirement, and neither does this one, I think. So what you do is Darkness Enthroned gives you 75% effect. So you put this one jewel in, and you can see here that's a 34 dex jewel. And then this jewel over here is another, it's giving me what, like 43 dex. And this is a pretty good scaling thing for your Hollow Palm. Gives you a lot of dex, gives you some life and move speed. And this one gives you some life and then some other stat requirements. And then lastly, we have the boots. I do think that there's really no other option besides 7 league steps. It gives you 50% increased movement speed compared to 20% from Wanderlust. Now you might be wondering how much does this all cost? It's like 17 chaos. Darkness Enthroned is 10 chaos. The 27, these are like 5 chaos rings. So 40 chaos, and then 40 chaos for the Hollow Palm Jewel, 10 chaos for Astramentus, and 3 chaos for Gold Rim. So you can pretty much put this setup all together for around 1x or so, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, and it will be some of the fastest leveling you'll experience. Now I pretty much just ran Quicksilver or Granite, Silver Flask. Obviously you can try harder and roll better Flask, and then there's a Mana and Life Flask. But I kind of wanted to present a method that is just super fast. You don't really need to worry about buying that many items. A lot of people, if you look in your stash, you probably already have a La Hoop of All, and you probably already might even have a Brisk Wrap, and you should definitely have a Gold Rim. So all you theoretically need to buy is probably like a Hollow 7 League Step, the Hollow Palm Jewel, Astramentus, and maybe some Abyss Jewels. But a lot of people have that in stock. So how do you actually level this setup? The leveling tree has you just going out this way with the attack speed and then making a beeline for the cluster jewel. And then you put in the points with the cluster jewel, one with nothing, and then you take it. And then after that, I pretty much make a beeline straight down to utmost swiftness, which is the percent dex nodes, because it gives you more dex, which is pretty much more damage. Then you go down here, you get the dual wielding nodes. I also take these nodes here because you get onslaught effect. And onslaught effect is pretty much move speed. And I do think that while leveling, move speed is everything. And then you can pretty much just fill out the rest of the tree. If you feel like you're dying a little bit too much, you can take some life here. You can take some resist here. If you're missing some resist, you can also take these nodes here early on. I did get 15 all elemental res here. And then this pen also helps out a lot. And then you can take the jewel sockets, then put in some more Dex Abyss jewels, or you can do some regular jewels. And then I ended up taking these Dex attack speed nodes, and then more Dex right here. So basically, tree is pretty wide open. You can pretty much use anything you want and see fit, and you can just respec the whole tree later on to whatever you want. So once I reach like level 80, I'll probably respec this whole tree over to a Int Stacker tree. And as you can see here, I kind of went up here already because I'm getting ready to swap to an Int Stacker, and I don't really need any more damage at this point in time. So if you do the setup, easy 3 hours. But like I say, leveling in most cases is about knowing where to go in the layouts of the maps or layout of the zone. So you pretty much should always have a goal in mind of where you're going and where you're heading on the map. But that's pretty much just something that comes with playing the game more and doing the campaign more. And I hope that this does make the leveling experience a lot smoother throughout the campaign and trying to finish maps, because I know it is very annoying to actually have to do the campaign every time you want to try out a new character. I do think that this will make your life a lot easier. Now you might be getting to this level, which is level 66, and wondering like, what now? My character's kind of bricked. How do I actually bring it into maps? And let's go over how you can bridge the gap from 66 to 90. Okay, at this point, everyone is wondering, I have my character at level 66, what to do now, right? The easiest way is you go to your TFT Discord. You can see the link down below in the video description of how to join it. So in this section, there is something called Skirt Softcore Services, other Rota/SSC. So what you try to want to do is you want to find a breach rotation, and this could be probably a Chayula breach. So what you do is the cost of entry is you have to provide 1 stone. So these here are looking for Chayula Pier breach rotation. So you have to pay 1 breach stone. So you bring 1, and then 5 other people bring it, and the hoster I think clears the breach stones. So you pretty much get to run 6 Pier Chayulas or whatever in return for your 1 that you bring over. So the reason why the hoster does it is that they actually get all the loot. Then they actually get all of the loot. So that's their like benefit of actually helping you carry it through. So you pretty much get an insane value by paying this small amount of money, and the time you spend could be time running maps and farming more currency. So pretty much this is the way to do it. Now once you get to like level 80 or so from doing 1 round of the pure Chayula Breachstone, you can then head into this section called 5-way hosting. And in this section here, you can see all of these people advertising hosting 5-way Legion, 4% XP on level 99 per run. Now this is a lot more pricey compared to the Chayula Pier rotation. And what you have to do is you have to pay them a certain amount for each run of the 5-way Legion. And the 5-way Legion is this thing here. So they put in all 5 and then they run it. And then you're usually running some KB build or Lightning Arrow build with Headhunter and 3 Inspired Learning with Solstice Vigil. And you can either choose to be an AFK person where you pretty much just sit in the middle AFK, or you can choose to be a resetter where you run in and out of the middle, resetting for the person running. I highly recommend you become an AFKer. Being a resetter is not very fun. And if you mess up, you could potentially brick the whole run. So here, this way will give you, it costs around 3.5 exalts per 5 runs. I'm not really entirely sure how many runs it takes to go to 90. It probably takes like 2 sets of these or maybe 1 set of it. It's actually just insanely fast. So this is definitely worth it if you just want your character to be level 90. So you just do 1 Chayula up here, maybe 2 of these 5-way rotations, and then you're done. And all it does is cost some money, right? And this is pretty much how much money you would farm within 2 hours. Like 7 to 8x in 2 hours is not really that unreasonable. And then you pretty much have a character at level 90 and ready to do all of the content. You can put on all of your gear. You can put on all of your awakened gems. And all you spent was like 4 to 5 hours of your time, right? So that's how you actually level a character super fast in maps. I will be doing the rest of this character in the Chayula Pier. Maybe I'll do one 5-way rotation, get to level 90, and then put on my budget Int Stacker gear. We'll make a video about what I am trying to do with the budget Int Stacker stuff. You can see here I have evasion chest, some bad Aziri's mirror, some budget amulet, budget gloves, budget boots. So we'll try it out, right? And I'll let you know. I will try to use the Vengeance Cascade tech, and I do think that it will be very useful. But and yeah, let me showcase a little bit of what the leveling looks like with Hollow Palm. It's a minion builds never really get crazy clear speed, but it's like it's really efficient. But the problem with Absolution was more the mechanics of it more. I might die running this, honestly. Oh my goodness, this troll layout. Usually just set the price high, and if no one PMs you, then you can slowly lower it, right? I'll equip for more resist. I don't have a... I just have a Darkness to throw. One button will do both curses, yeah. It's actually pretty good. I didn't quit the gold room because it's slower to level with the gold room compared to Asenath, since Asenath has move speed on it. And it doesn't really matter if you die or not. Well, lovely at least. Should probably get Blood Rage. Muspia Bell, yeah. Anyhow, I hope everyone has enjoyed this video. I do know I made this video like a couple leagues ago or something like that, but I do think that it's pretty nice to be able to showcase that the same method still works, and you don't really need to have top of the line leveling gear to do a run in under like 3 hours, 2 hours, 30 minutes. You pretty much just need to buy the baseline gear. Oh yeah, I could go over the gems real fast. Onslaught, Smite, added fire damage, faster attacks, Ancestral Call, elemental damage of attacks. I ran Herald of Ash and Wrath as my aura, and everything else doesn't really matter. And I have a Flame Dash as my movement skill. But I'll put a pop of my current character in the description down below, and you just use it as a general guideline. You can pretty much use any gems. You could probably use Purity of Elements or something if you're worried about resist or something like that. But thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you find more Mirrors, Exalts, and Mage Bloods than me, and see you next time. Bye.